Can everybody start making their way to a seat? Excuse me. Can everybody start making their way? All right. Excuse me. A couple things before we get started. First of all, I'd like to welcome everybody here today. Beautiful afternoon. This is one of the largest crowds that we've ever had at the Ohio Chapter Hall of Fame induction. I'd like to congratulate all the inductees. I'd like to congratulate on all the inductees. I can't think of a group that's more deserving than them. Kind of how things are going to work today is Steve Kish will give the invocation. The hotel staff will release table by table for you to go out and get your meal. You'll come back after the meal, and then we'll actually start the program. I'd like to introduce a few people before we get started, or before we have Steve give the invocation, is just the Ohio Chapter board members. We'll start off with Gordy Longshaw. If we could have him stand up. Where's, there he is, Gordy in the back. Ray Anthony. Just stay standing, might as well just stay standing. Robin Rayfield. Andy DeSalvador. We'll give him a double round of applause. Myself, Joel Greenley. Steve Kish. And last but not least, Stephanie Mendelson, treasurer. She's way out of the buffet getting stuff squared away. If you get a chance, really say thanks to her. She does a lot of things that we could not make this happen without her. So, anyway, Steve Kish.
Thank you. Please bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this opportunity to honor the 9 new inductees into the National Wrestling Hall of Fame, Ohio Chapter. This is an outstanding honor for these folks, and we thank you for so many people coming here this evening to honor them, friends, relatives, and maybe wrestlers and coaches and so forth. We do appreciate that. We pray that you will please bless our food and that we will all have safe trips home. Again, thank you. In your name we pray. Amen.
I think the hotel staff is going to release you by tables, but I missed one name. I didn't have my glasses on, and I was trying to squint it out and not really look like I was squinting it out. But so if we could have Dick Minacci stand, please. You got to stand up longer than that, Dick. I think I might be the only one to see you. Thank you. It's my pleasure to introduce our speaker tonight. Our presenter is Matt Gafari. Matt was wrestled in Ohio at Cleveland State University. Holds the American record for the most world and Olympic medals in Greco-Roman wrestling at 4. He's a 3-time world medalist, 1-time Olympic medalist, Olympic silver medalist. I think that the thing that's probably more amazing than that is how long his career, how many years it spanned. I don't know for sure how many years, but I'd say at least 12 years of wrestling international, and that takes a toll on your body, takes a toll on your family, takes a toll on everything you do. So he's made a lot of sacrifices to be who he is today. A great wrestler, 3-time world medalist, Olympic silver medalist, Matt Gafari.
Thank you, Coach Greenley. Thank you, committee. It is my honor to be here. You build to the future by honoring the past. This is a great day and great for the families for this gentleman to get recognized for the Lifetime Achievement Award. Our sport of wrestling is dear, is the best sport known to man. We use the techniques that is in the caves from 2,000 years ago. It hasn't changed. You grab the arm, you grab the leg. Greco-Roman used to do it, battle to death, but that has changed. So. Before we get started, I'm going to acknowledge Jim Humphrey, 1984 Olympic team coach. Jim, stand up. Many people came and get Joel and my autograph. You need to get Jim's. Since the two Foxcatcher or third Foxcatcher, he's in Hollywood, he's in incognito back there in the beard, the sunglasses. But Jim's here, and I want to share a story. My first Olympic camp, 1984, Big Bear. Coach Humphrey was a coach, and Dan Gable was a coach. One day, we practiced Jim Humphrey style. This is freestyle. I was fortunate enough to be in both camps because I like to learn, and people like to beat me up. I was the fresh meat. They called seasoning, I don't know. I got ice bags. One day Jim would run the practice, and one day Dan Gable would run the practice. The goal was 10 goals in Los Angeles, no Soviets, no communists. And we had Bill Wick as an old wizard, Dan Gable's friend. So as an Olympic alternate, I was, the story ties up to Miami, Ohio, our first nominee, Chuck Angelo. But Mike Holcomb, Miami, Ohio, alternate number 2 in the country, got hurt first day. So I got moved up from being number 3 to number 2. So we're practicing, I'm doing really good against Baumgartner. And then they go to Jim Humphreys, like, hey, the Olympians' confidence are going down. These alternates are all full of, excuse my language, vinegar, PM vinegar. And they're just doing, and Bill Wick's like, get them running in the morning, get them tired, so they build the confidence. So Coach Humphrey would get us up early in the morning and get us running, the alternates only. And the Olympians would come in fresh to practice. They mocked the mat with us. And that way we won many medals. We built their confidence. But it also taught us the harder you work, the luckier you get. This is a great example to our special acknowledgement. Mike Milkovich, the father of high school wrestling in Ohio. Only third high school wrestling coach in the Stillwater National Hall of Fame. Not only a great guy, but he shaped many, many men's lives and careers. So bear with me, I'm gonna read, but also make sure you get his book. His book, Mustang, is out, and it's very good to support our wrestling family. Very small community. If you're not in wrestling, you don't understand it. I have many, many times, 28 countries I wrestled representing this great nation. I wasn't a soldier like our brave soldiers in Iraq, Afghanistan, but they don't say Macrofari, they say US heavyweight. So then you get a guy who gets paid from Russia, Hungary, who come over and says, what does wrestling give you? I got a car, I got a house. It's like, nothing, I buy my own shoes. You go to the next country and the guy will say, how much can I make money coming wrestling there? Your club, how much pay you? It gives you nothing. I work, I have a wife and 4 kids, and I train extra. They're doing that now, and you can see the results. But I came to understanding what wrestling gives you is everything. Everything you dream about. Is whatever you put into it, you get out of it. Many people think they're going to be next Kurt Angle. They're going to win a medal and get professional wrestling. Many people think they're going to win a medal and get to movies. And it doesn't work like that. We didn't wrestle for the end results. Everybody in this room, family members know. You work hard, you work late, you try to get better each day. You face your demons, wearing a plastic suit and sweating, not trying to quit. You face your demons, trying a new move 10 times in practice and getting crushed and being brave enough to do it on the mat. It's only a sport. It has no glove, no bat, no net. You call your own plays. I won because I did certain things. I lost because I wasn't technically sound. I wasn't in shape. I let up on the edge, which I lost Olympic finals living at one age. You can't tie the champ. You gotta take it away from the referees. We have referees here and we love them, but they make mistakes. Just take it out of their hands. You gotta beat the champ. So Mike Milkovich, the father of Ohio high school wrestling. This year marks the 40th anniversary of Mike Milkovich, retirement from wrestling. His bio, again, the Mustang, you guys gotta get the book. has all of his credentials. We'd be here till tomorrow if I read all of them, but I'm going to go to the highlights of it. Mike was only the third high school coach ever inducted into National Wrestling Hall of Fame in Stillwater. Mr. Milkovich was a high school state champ in 1941. That was when they had the hay instead of the wrestling mat. Coach Bonacci told me that sometimes they didn't wear shoes, it was legal. 1941 for Garfield Heights, and he wrestled at Kent State where he became a national AAU champion. He began coaching in Maple Heights, which everybody in this room would know, and 27 years his team won 10 state championships, 8 runner-ups, third place finishers, and also he was main competitor to Ferguson and St. Ed's and all the other teams. His success and influence were most evident with how he raised his sons and how successful all his 4 sons were. Again, if I read every credentials of their sons, Pat's here, he told me he would kick my butt if I don't read his. He's a national champ, he was a 4-time finalist, 2-time NCAA champ, 3-time Big Ten champion, but also all the sons are successful. The whole family is successful. Success breeds success. You're a champion in the wrestling mat, you're a champion in all of your endeavors. On behalf of Ohio chapter of National Wrestling Hall of Fame, we would like to thank King of Ohio Wrestling, LeBron James would get mad, but King of Ohio Wrestling, Mike Milton. Can you stand up and get recognized, sir? Thank you again, sir, for all your hard work and all your dedication to our great sport of wrestling. Our first Lifetime Achievement Award always sat across the mat when I wrestled at Cleveland State. Coach Bonacci was here, and Mr. Angelo, Chuck Angelo, Coach Angelo was across from me. We had many battles at Ohio Open. I think that you can't recall, but I think we were 500, maybe with your heavyweight. But the Olympic trials, I did lose to Holcomb, which was his heavyweight. And Miami wrestling was really, really good. Coach worked hard with no scholarship, and he can talk about that. Chuck has been nominated, as I told you, as a Lifetime Service Award for over 40 years of dedication to our sport. All these credentials are in the book. I'm just going to finish up by saying that 2 of his wrestlers made it to U.S. Olympic team, which is the pinnacle. You got high school, college, you got freestyle Greco, now it's ultimate fighting. But Olympics are still what everybody strives for. We went to our last guy, Kai Snyder, to the last minute, because we've never been shut out since Olympics been. We always won a gold medal in freestyle Greco. But he won the gold. If he didn't win the gold, we would have been the first time ever for U.S. history. But you guys have started that dream. So, Coach Angelo, please come. Please.
Thank you so much. I'm so humbled by this award. I was never the greatest wrestler, but I loved it. And I stayed with it, and I've had successful guys that have made me famous. I really appreciate this award. For me, I have a number of people to thank. I have 90 people here. I won't mention them all by name, but there they are. And I love every one of them. And I'm going to steal this record. I think I'm going to come over and sing it. But, you know, I want to thank Scott Eisen. Here's Scotty. Scotty wrestled for me, he coached for me, and he has been a family member for me, and he nominated for me for this, and so many people wrote letters of support, so thank you so much. I want to thank my family that's here, my lovely wife, who keeps me in control because I'm pretty much out of control. My lovely daughter, Camille, she is the superstar of my life. My son, Joshua. I have my brother Lenny here, who's a genius. And my brother Ronnie, who was voted Wrestler of the Decade in Ohio, two-time state champion, in All-American. You know, there are so many people to thank, and you know, I love wrestling because it saved me, and I believe that the Lord puts, you know, seeds of greatness in each one of us, and our job is to try to find that and cultivate that and bring that to fruit so that they can be shared with other people. And I was pretty much a lost soul, and I struggled with life. Many of you might remember the Wonder Years, the movie. Anybody? I'm the only old timer? Yes. Well, mine were the confused years. And I finally got into wrestling, and I found truth that I could believe in. And these truths I put into a slogan: if you ain't tough, you ain't nothing. Because, like I said, we used to wrestle to the death. And you have to be tough. But what that really means that the elements of success are based on hard work. And wrestlers work hard. It's based on self-control, which if you control yourself, you can control your destiny. It's based on the courage to believe in yourself, which probably is the greatest part of wrestling. You go out there, the guy always looks bigger, stronger, better coach, he has a better looking girlfriend, his mom is great, and you're going out there and you got to stand there and there's no one that can help you except yourself. You know, it's about setting goals and learning how to achieve them. It's about perseverance, the ability to keep trying, because when you wrestle, you get the heck beat out of you. And you got to keep coming back and coming back and coming back and coming back. And if you show up, if you can do that, then you have a chance of making it. It's also about a sense of humor, which I was probably the best at. Because doing all this stuff, you crack it. I mean, it break it. It'll wear you down. And you know, if you can't laugh when you want to cry, if you can't stay loose in a tight spot, if you can't stay cool in a hot spot, man, it's a hard life. And the last thing was, you know, the strength to change into the person you want to be. And I've been blessed with great coaches. My high school coach, Jeff Lewis, is here. He took me, I was probably headed for prison, and brought me to wrestling. You know, a crazy man. We're all got a little sanity, so look to the right and left, you'll see that. We've all got a lot more testosterone than you need, and we have a propensity for violence and the will to win. So what a great combination. So I'm blessed, and I feel humbled because the state of Ohio is probably the greatest state in wrestling. You know, my friend Frank Romano, the historian, has informed me that a team from Ohio has won a national championship at every level of competition in the United States. 2 junior college national championships, 2 NEIA championships, a Division III team, my John Carroll guys. We won the title in 1975 where I was assistant coach. We won the Division II championships. We won the Division I championships. We have won the national duels. We have won the National Club Wrestling Championship. We have won the Junior National Championships. We have had teams ranked #1 in the country 15 times. So if you look around this room, there are great people here. And I was good, sometimes very good, but today you make me feel great. And you know, and that's something that's so special, and I've been so honored to have my guys here. We had a wild party last night. We like to play. You know, if you work hard, you got to play hard. You know, so that was our philosophy. I also want to talk that we were a victim of Title IX, and I want to say that Title IX is a great law. It has had some bad interpretations, and we at Miami were in a battle that helped maybe rewrite that interpretation. That it is not proportionality, it's about interest, and it's about people that want. If you look at a school like Miami, we had 5,000 people involved in the School of Education, 3,500 women and 1,500 men. If you use proportionality, you would have to tell 2,000 women they couldn't be a teacher, which we need. So, saying that, and when we look at our time now with everyone talking about nukes, I want to say that if there is ever a nuclear war, and all the stadiums and buildings have crumbled, and the AstroTurf has been vaporized, and all the basketballs in the world are no longer there, somewhere under that ash will be a person who will bounce up, shake off the ash, drop down into a stance, and go out and find the idiots that pressed the button. And civilization will begin again because wrestlers have trained to go without food and water than any other human beings in the world. So with that, I'm so proud to be a member of the Hall of Fame, and I feel so humbled, and thank you for everyone that has been a part of it, because I want to say this. There was a famous artist, Leroy Neiman, and his art form was he painted pictures. Some of you guys know him? Got a lot of art. Where's Dr. Killy over there? Okay? His art was he used dots and dashes and brush strokes, and if you look close to the picture, you really couldn't make it out. But when you backed up, those little pieces made an image. And my guys, every one of you guys have been a part of my life. You have made an impact on my life. You gave me so much more than I gave you, and my image is based on those guys. God bless. Thank you.
Wrestling room is in the south basement. We always survive. Next lifetime achievement award is Dick Bliss. Dick has dedicated over 50 years to this sport in the role of an athlete, coach, board member. Some of the highlights and the most important one, he implemented several wrestling opportunities, including the diversified cooperative training program, middle school and youth program, and the Mat Mates program at North Ridgeville and Mayfield. Please put your hands together, Mr. Bliss.
Chuck, I can stand behind this.
All right.
Just thought I'd mention it. I want to mention something. We had some recognition of Mike Milkovich today. Mike Milkovich had a profound influence on my career. I was at a Greater Cleveland coaches meeting, and Mike walks in and says, I'm taking an Ohio All-Star team, we're going into nationals, we need singlets, we need this, and you're paying for it. Like that. And some people started to question him, and he said, wait a minute. You guys sit around here. While you're sitting around here, I'm out in Oklahoma with Myron Roderick. I'm rubbing shoulders with the best coaches in the entire country, and you're sitting here. You'll never beat me unless you get off your butt and get out and learn. Now give me the damn money. Okay, we all gave him the money. We didn't want to argue with Mike at that point, but I will tell you, from that moment, I probably have worked over 150 camps. I've worked with gold medalists. I've worked with national champions. I've worked all over the place. And he made a profound influence on my coaching. When you're through learning, you're through. And I refuse to quit learning. And I thank you, Mike, for that. While I'm thanking Mike, I want to thank the wrestling family. We can't mention all your names. I can't tell you how many people I saw in just in the last 2 hours that we've had dialogue, we've known each other, we've cared for each other. This is a special group. If you're like me, you can travel anywhere in the country and you run into people you know. Betty and I were on our way to Istanbul, ran into one of the kids that I was coaching in Frankfurt on a plane bound for Ankara, Turkey. You're going to find people all over. That's where the sport starts to give back to us. That isn't really what we're here for. We're to give to them. My family, much of them are here. My son Danny, my daughter Michelle and her husband, my sisters Diane and Darla are here. I've been coaching 51 years. There aren't too many people going to get an award today that has coached 51 years that can say, thanks, Mom. My mother did. And no one can coach 51 years without the support of a wonderful bride. And my bride is here as well. I try to tell my assistant coaches, and I am retired, I'm done now as of now, but I tell them that nobody cares what you know till they know how much you care. That's something we tried to do all the way through my career. When we were fighting at the state level for different changes in the sport of wrestling, and I probably have had more success than anybody ever had, and will ever again, since the state's now into a CYA approach to everything. But we always argued about what was good for kids. That's the only thing we ever based our decisions on. What is good for kids? That's why we got so much done. And we think that's important. All of us as coaches and officials, we don't realize the amount of influence we have on people. As I look back, I could probably name 4 or 5 people that there was an incident that occurred that I pulled from that moment and used that to face or to form my philosophy of life. I know one of those people, it was John Matucci, my high school coach. Vince's brother is here tonight. We've lost John, unfortunately. But everyone in this room has 4 or 5 people that they can draw someone, a moment that they've used. That's the challenge that I found in coaching. I always said, if a young man takes something from me, it better be positive. That's my challenge. The other thing is, we never know. We like to think, oh, it's a state champ that'll learn the most. I remember a kid I had, he wrestled for me for 4 years. He never wrestled a varsity match till the last match of the year. I said, Rich, you're going to wrestle, damn it. And I put him out on the mat, and he got pinned in a minute. He come off the mat, he says, thanks, coach. Okay. He went to Ohio State, majored in education, called me a couple of years later and says, could you send me the wrestling notebook? Maybe a set of practice plans. So I did that. Next time I saw Rich, he was sitting outside at St. John's Arena with the first two qualifiers from that high school that had ever made it to the state tournament, and Rich was the coach. Today I walked in the room and my lovely sister introduced me to Kay over here. And Kay says, thank you. You might have saved my life. Now I don't remember Kay, but she was my sister's roommate in college back when Moby Dick was a minnow. Diane used to teach her, all these people, how to wrestle in her rooming house. I'd go in to visit her and they'd have rub burns and mat burns on their elbows and their knees. But Kay said, yeah, I was teaching and this guy pulled a knife on me. And I looked at him and said, you better drop that or I'm going to take your knees out from under you right now. She says she was ready to hit him with a double because she wasn't going to get hit with anything else. He dropped the knife, and that was the end of the story. So she thanked me for saving her life. Wow, that's reaching. But I will tell you, you never have an idea what influence you have. And I know the hardest thing for me will be stepping away from that, but I'm so excited for my bride and I with our new challenge as we move on. Thank everybody involved. What a wonderful event. Thank you very, very much.
Our next inductee, Larry Deaton, has been in wrestling world for over 50 years. He can't make weight now, but he wrestled 127 pounds. None of the referees can make weight. None of the referees could make weight ever again. Again, this is some, not all, they're all in the book, but he has ref since 1966, that means he needs glasses. He has referee on 3 NIA national championships, NCAA Division II regional tournaments, 8 Ohio State championships, and 15 West Virginia tournaments, many other big competitions. He has been part of Martin Ferry High School Wrestling Hall of Fame and 2004 Ohio High School Athletic Association Official Hall of Fame. In 2009, OVAC named their Official of the Year award after Mr. Deaton. So Larry, please come up. This is your moment and congratulations. Until they put 3 out there.
Hello. I don't have all these great things about coaching and all that. I've been on the other end. But you know, my decision was always final. No matter what, my decision was the one that counted. Okay, I started back when Ferry first started doing wrestling. They had it for 3 years before I went in there. And my first varsity match happened to be against Bobby Douglas. Now, I got pinned in the second period, but when I went back to school the next day, everybody was congratulating me what a great job I did. And I got pinned. But I only wrestled because my high school football coach demanded that you play a sport every season, Bob Wyatt. So the Corky Votris, John Votris, was the wrestling coach, who's in all kind of Hall of Fames too. He actually started the program there. And he went out and recruited us. Especially everyone that got cut from the sport, he recruited. All the hoodlums in the school, he recruited. And he brought us all back. And he made us good citizens. We all respected him till he passed away. But we all loved Corky. And I would have probably got out of wrestling after I graduated from high school. But I had an older brother, 2 years, who went to West Liberty. He did not wrestle at West Liberty, but for extra money, he got into officiating. So, of course, like my older brother, I had to get into officiating to follow him around. And I've been there ever since. And to tell you the truth, it's a habit, it's a hobby. Most people got hobbies they do, cost them a fortune. I got a hobby that I love to do, and it pays for itself. Plus a little bit. And I used to be fanatic about it back in the 70s, year round. Took teams everywhere, officiated everywhere. Now I give me whatever my brother-in-law or secretary hands me down. I'm like his go-to man. If he doesn't have somebody for this match or somebody cancels out, I'm next door. He comes over and says, Larry, will you go up to Steubenville and referee? Sure, I'll go. It keeps me involved. Plus, I don't think I could do a 2 or 3 day tournament anymore. But 1 day jobs I can get by. And the people that helped me along the way, my administrators from the school, my brothers, the OVAC family. Our conference is a great conference. And all the coaches and everything, it's like one big family. In any other sport, there's not a family like it's in our OVAC conference. And the head of it's sitting down there right now, Mr. Danny Doyle. And we all work together, and we all take care of one another. Now, we all get to hate each other, especially people like me. They'll hate me one day, but the next day we're all friends again. And for everybody that I've stepped on over the years that hate me, there's somebody on the other side of that mat that loves me. Or some mother and dad that loves me. So, it doesn't matter what call I make. I'm making somebody happy. It's that simple. And this is a great honor. This is the top. Everyone in this room has a lot of honors. And if you look at the tables out there, you'll see that. And all deserving, but this is the top. And really appreciate this. And I'm going to enjoy it. My older brother, Chuck, was a great wrestling fan. And he's the one that took us, because my dad was dead, me and my brother. And he had a son that was good. And he took us everywhere when we was growing up there, in school and right after school. And when they first opened the National Wrestling Hall of Fame out there, we went out and seen it. Of course, we was in Oklahoma City watching the Nationals, but that's the only reason we went. But it was there, and Chuck was really amazed. And then when Douglas went in, he went back out again. We was on a motorcycle ride and stopped again to see it. But what an honor this is. He would be really proud. And I want to thank you, and I thank all the other winners here, or winners or just lifetime achievement awards here. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Our next inductee is a nervous fellow. He definitely got to drink decaf. Andy DiSabato. He must have checked with me 50 times. Do I know how to pronounce it? He was more concerned about me pronouncing DiSabato right than enjoying the moment. I'm going to leave you something, Andy, because I already told you. When you do a choke out, you go back to God's reset button, factory setting. You might forget 6 seconds, 10 seconds when you passed out, but when you come back refreshed and rebooted, you need to push a reset button and enjoy the moment. And it doesn't matter, they must have butchered my name in many different cultures. And really the name doesn't make the person. You're a person being honored as a lifetime service to the sport of wrestling. You have impacted the sport of wrestling over 40 years. 1977 All-American at Ohio State, but you opened the doors by being the first 4-time NCAA qualifier at Ohio State. And if you would have told me it took to 1977 to accomplish that, I would have said that already had a 4-time qualifier, but it takes a long time. As I told you as I started here, we build to the future by honoring the past. You gotta know where you come from so you can understand where we're going with this great sport. Again, these are some of the highlights. 25 years at Grandview High School, 11 league championships, Ohio Coaches Association Hall of Fame. I want to introduce you the one and only, the guy who's really calm and relaxed and peaceful, Andy DiSabato.
Sort of like this myself, but thank you, Matt. And I want to thank everyone for coming. And actually, years ago we had a vision for this. We were sort of late in starting our Ohio Hall of Fame. But there was about 25 states, and a guy named Bill Lamb called me and wanted to get this started. So I was like one of the first members that had a vision for Ohio because of all the great coaches and wrestler that comes from the state. And I said, we got to do it. Why are we like, 25th and everyone's doing it? So I feel proud of that I helped get this started. And you guys turning out tonight is just a great thing for us, and I want to thank you a lot. Wrestling's been a big part of my life. For about 48 years. I didn't make quite as far as Father Bliss, I used to call him, Dick Bliss, my father. And he's actually moving in Florida tomorrow, and I'm moving my house tomorrow, so that's part of my nerves. I've been like after weigh-ins, took a lot of sugar bus. But I'm really honored to be here with such great people. We heard about the Milkoviches and some of the coaches tonight, and Humphrey and other people. I feel very fortunate. And I'd like to introduce my parents who are here, my mom and dad. And I love them. They taught me what hard work's about. And they were dedicated. My dad worked 3 jobs and gave me a chance to go out and wrestle. No, it's sentimental either though. But I appreciate that, and I love the board to death. My brother Billy's here, and just like any Italian family, he used to beat me up, so I beat Phil up. Phil beat Chris up. And next thing you know, you got a few wrestlers going on. That's sort of what we did. Not as quite as bad as my Uncle Mike's, because we just had a mini tournament at their house. It was like 12 in the weight class there. But he had me ref, and there were some vicious bouts back in the day. But also a good man, my wife, been with me through a lot. She keeps me on a straight and narrow. I'm a little wild. You see my picture out there, you know how wild I was in college. I had a fro going on, so, But she's the best, and the coaches know how Matt parents, how they have to get involved, and she did everything for my team and helped my players. And I had other parents, I'll mention a few of their names, but it's a tough thing, those tournaments. You start Wednesday night, you know, the drill CD meetings, they got to eat then. Friday they come in. The wrestling coaches are the hungriest people you ever know in your life. Probably because we sucked weight all the time back in the day. You know, we lost, you know, I don't know how much we lost, but you know. I came from 162 to 142, so I knew that feeling. Two of my daughters are here, and I love them to death. I actually have 3 daughters. As Russ Hellickson says, you know, I have 3 daughters, but I had about 250 sons. And they always say that the kid, you know, if a kid gets in trouble, hey, your boy screwed up. I go, hey, my boy, whoop his butt. You know? But I would get a hold of them and, you know, shake them around a little bit, practice back in the old days when you could do that. Can't even yell out now, you get in trouble. They're great. My middle daughter's having a child any day now. She's not here, but I want to have my daughters, Leah and Ashley, stand up. They were both math stats, but my one daughter, Leah, was going to go to a tournament, and my high school, or my college roommate, Danny Liber, was here, one of my teammates at Ohio State, called me up and said, Danny, what's going on, man? You're not taking a freshman to a weigh meet, and you're not supposed to go there. So I said, you take care, you keep her in check. Don't want any of those guys around. I know those wrestlers are like. But nowadays, I'd probably have them wrestling, but back then I said, you guys can't wrestle. There's no way. I mean, they weren't big back then. I'm talking like 25, 28 years ago. But I also have 4 grandkids I love to death. Paisley, Giovanna, Braden, and Elizabeth. One on the way. Got Braden into wrestling a couple years ago at our DeSabato camp. We still run a DeSabato camp. And he went 11-0-1 last year. He did a great job. I said, it's really easy out there, isn't it? But, you know, that's the toughest thing in the world to ever do. I didn't tell him that yet. But he likes it. He's good. Last year I went up to watch a match and traveled about 3 hours, and he was warming up, so I go up to him. He says, Papa D, you can't talk to me now. I go, hey, get over here. I just drove up here 3 hours to see you. It was funny. You had to be there. But, yeah, I mentioned a little bit about family. I got some cousins here, but the DeSabato is a well-known name with wrestling around the state of Ohio. The Columbus Dispatch related us with Griffins with football. Archie Griffin, his brother, was football with the DeSabatos of wrestling in the state of Ohio. So it was a great, you know, great to have that name. And anyways, our family, we had just a couple of things. We had 4 national All-Americans. We had 12 NCAA qualifiers, 15 state titles, 27 state placers, 27 state qualifiers. And we're still coaching and teaching kids our style, and we're hoping to make some more chances. In my DeSabato, could they stand up for me? I know I got several here. Would you stand up, please? My cousins, brother. Thanks for coming. Also, my stepson's in the back with his wife. Guys, thanks for coming. And they're going to be my roomie, so it's a long story on that, too. I just wanted to mention, it's hard to tell all your coaches and that, but I just want to go over a few. I had some, you know, a smart coach gets behind good people, and I had great people. And I want to read a few of them. Brad Ginner, Tony Thivener, Jack Lowe. Jack Lowe's here tonight, and Jack, I always mention 2 reasons. He was the first Granby State champion. Jack, wave your hand. Where's Jack Lowe? 1972. And he's also older than me, so I always like to bring that up at the Banquet. Mike Rump's here. He coached with me for a few years. My cousin Vince DeSabato, my coach my first year. Tony Aberzizi, Jimmy Woodland, Johnny Vogel, a couple state champs for me. Jeff Cagley's here was my strength coach and his lovely wife. I appreciate it. D. Chad Davis is here. He's a state champ for me. He took over from my program when I left a few years ago. Dominic Sanzo helped me coach. Steve Mendocino and Brad Tipple. I want to thank those guys because you know how that goes. Crap goes downstream. I had a lot of that. And thanks for putting up with me all those years. And then I got a few college teammates here. I appreciate Billy Reinbold, Kevin Quigley, Jeff Wu. I mentioned Denny Lieberger and Jack Cruzy. I might have missed a few, but especially those first two back in the day when they really did a little beat me up. Those two took care of me pretty good. Also, some of my other wrestlers are here also. Alex Picasso, I mentioned Chad Davis, Scott Bauer, and Brad Gintert. I'm not sure if Brad can make it. And then I also want to thank some of my mat parents over the years, the Tipples, the Tallinges, the Lowe's, the Larsons, Pierce, Bonaventuras, Sanzos, Manellos, Woodlands, Barty family, Satterwhite, Vogels, and on and on and on. That, you know, we used to run 3 or 4 terms a year. You just can't do that without great people. And finally, there's a couple guys that were special in my life. And my high school coach is here, Bob Triano. Where's Bob? Bob meant the world to me, still does. And I told him his Hall of Fame. That's why I started coaching, because of my high school coach. And I hope a few people took after me and said, you know, I'm going to coach, because Coach Sabato had a big impact on it. T's a fellow Hall of Fame member, and he meant the world to me. We were state champs in 1971 and 1974 for Columbus St. Francis de Sales. Also, we heard Matt talk a little bit about Jim Humphrey. Talk about fresh meat, man. I'll tell you what, Jim used to pick me up on his motorcycle, because I was the only one that would work out with him, and I wasn't pretty. But he beat me in the ground enough to make me better. He taught me a lot of freestyles. As you heard, he was an Olympic coach. Jim was also second in the world around when I was getting pretty good, and we had some battles. The only time I beat him, I told him I shouldn't say it, but I hit him in the head with a big glove and knocked him senseless. If we got in a fight on the mats, like you get, you know, you're wrestling, we put on 16-ounce boxing gloves, and the last man standing. It wasn't pretty, but we had some vicious fights in there. Probably can't do that anymore either.
Not when I'm going to jail.
Yeah. Also, I got another great friend along with Hump. I mean, I have a lot of great friends, but another special thanks to Jude Scove, came in town from Atlanta, and Jude's one of my best buddies. He was an NCAA champion when I was assistant coach with Chris Ford, and he was the first, in 1986 was the first live match they had on TV, and Jude Scove beat a Linsky boy from Ohio in the finals in a tough match. But I'll tell you one little story. He beat the Iowa guy in the semis, and we were walking home. Jude wasn't with him, but the limo pulled up, and it's Dan Gable. Just pushed the button, the window went down, pointed at me, Sabato, come here. Of course, Gable was my idol, a lot of people's idols. I mean, you just looked up at Coach Gable, how on earth, I don't know how you guys did it, but you tell Scove he's gonna win the NCAA champ. Or he's gonna win it. So, went back to the room, we got crazy, we like tore the room apart after I told him. I said, there's no way you're losing. So, you had to be there for that too. But,
That's illegal.
yeah. We did go to the Iowa bar. He said, I want you coming to the Iowa party. True story. Dan Gable stood on the bar in Iowa. It's called the Cave or something. It's crazy. And people were like trying to touch him. He was like the Pope. We all drank the drink, threw it against the back wall and broke it. And I don't want to get too carried away, but that's pretty amazing now. But I carried Julian on my shoulders to the Iowa party, and he was like, Jude was like a god then. I mean, it's just a great, wrestling just a great sport. And don't you guys ever let them get rid of wrestling in the Olympics. And that's a joke. We were the first Olympics. We can't have that. We're still talking about it. I'm not up with the politics. We can't never let that happen. It shouldn't happen. It's a shame. And we just can't do it. So if you get a chance that you hear that, write a letter, call somebody, and say, that's ridiculous. We're in the first Olympics, the greatest sport ever. So don't let them talk us out of it. It's ridiculous. Finally, in closing, I knew this would be tough, but my college coach, Chris Ford, excuse me, recently passed away, and his wife, Georgina, and his son, Mike, to wave. He's like a second father to me. We did everything together. And he would love to see me up here. He'd been proud. He's also was a Hall of Fame member. And I just love you so. And Coach Iwoshi, we used to call him, we miss you, and God bless. And thanks so much for listening to me, and God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you. Our next inductee, Jeff Geyer, he has been recognized for his lifetime of service and success in sport of wrestling. After graduating from Miami, Ohio University in 1981, where he was 4-year Letterman winner and the team captain, he began his decorated coaching career at Moeller High School, and his coaching career has gone for over 29 years. Jeff led the Crusaders to 21 GCL titles and had 3 state runner-up finishes. Since 96-97 season, his team had 15 top 10 state finishes and has been ranked in the state as high as 16 and 17. He has received the Founders Day Award in 2014 for his commitment to the community and excellence. Please help me bring up Coach Geyer.
I am so honored really to be here and to be recognized with this amazing group of men. It's really humbling for me to be mentioned in the same group as all these guys. And it's a little uncomfortable though. It's uncomfortable because the sport of wrestling has done so much for me. It's hard to see me being recognized when I should be recognizing so many people. Excuse me. My high school experience, as Andy kind of mentioned, as high school coach, my high school experience and my college experience really made a huge impact on me. And that impact that I think had me kind of geared towards, God kind of had a path for me into coaching. I got a great opportunity when I was a young coach to be at a school like at Moeller High School. We had a strong athletic tradition. And I got an opportunity to kind of build a program. And I had great mentors, guys like Jerry Faust and Mike Cameron, legends in their sports, really set the framework on really giving you the possibility of building a program. I had outstanding athletic administration. Our athletic leadership we had for most of my career, I had 2 co-athletic directors, Barry Borman and Dick Bierman. Dick being here today, they made me feel like wrestling was the most important sport at Moeller. And that's not something that most coaches can really speak to. So I had every opportunity to kind of work with the program. At Moeller, and as wrestling, when I see wrestling's a big family. Well, at Moeller, we talk about the Moeller family. And it truly is that. Everybody, if you have something that you strive for, strive to succeed, everybody kind of pushes to it. I have a number of colleagues here today that knew very little about wrestling, but they would do anything to support me and to support the athletes, their students, in what they wanted to try to do. But really, for wrestling and for the success of any wrestling program, it really comes down to three groups of people. First, the parents. I had unbelievable parents. Parents, obviously, that they're really dedicated to their kids, but they were dedicated for what the vision of the program was. They didn't ask any questions. If we said, hey, we needed the mats mopped, I'd have parents come out and mop the mats. If we needed food, they would provide us food. If we needed money, they'd provide us money. And the commitment of the parents that were involved for me really made that program go. I've got a number of them here. And I can be proud to say that a lot of these parents are my friends. And it's something special that I was able to get through my career. The coaches, unbelievable. My high school and college career gave me a good foundation for coaching. But as the program started getting better, you really had to kind of keep up. I know Dick Bliss talked about that you constantly had to learn. Well, I was fortunate that I constantly got good people around me for whatever reasons, by pure luck or whatever it was. One time, I had 3 former head coaches, a former college coach, and an NCAA champion that was on my staff. Chuck Angelo. Chuck's grandson wrestled for me, and Chuck came and helped me. So I had this college coach that's actually coming in and helping me. It's hard not to be successful when you have guys like that are coaching with you. Jude Scove, who was mentioned by Andy, one of Andy's teammates. Jude Scove had his sons go through Moeller, and I had Jude Scove for 6 years coming in and basically help show his stuff for nothing. A volunteer coach. And you can't. You're going to be successful when you have great people around you. And that was one of the blessings for me, is getting these great people. But really, coaching is really all about the wrestlers. And I am so blessed to have. I had great kids come through. I had kids that wanted to be state champs, and I just had to make sure I didn't screw them up, or the program couldn't screw them up. But I had kids that wanted to be doctors. I got a doctor here. One of my former wrestlers is a doctor. I have a former state champ, a couple state champs here. And then there's the wrestlers that just come in to be able to do something, be a part of something. And I think that's the reward of wrestling is getting all those people. It's the people that you come in contact with. So I've been very fortunate. Been fortunate to be involved in this sport. This sport has given so much to me. I want to recognize my family, because wrestling is a big family. But my family, my parents, my father's here. But my parents gave me a great foundation to make good decisions. They gave me an opportunity to go to great schools. They've done a lot continue to do a lot for my family. I got a big family. A number of them are here. They've always been at all my events and support me. They've done a great job of also kind of keeping me grounded when we got good, that, hey, you're really not that good. So I do appreciate all that. And lastly, really the person that should be recognized is my wife. I think any successful coach that's able to keep a family together, it really comes down to the spouse. And Chris Ann has sacrificed so much for my ability to coach that, I retired 2 years ago to try to start paying back. I know I'll never be able to pay back, but at least I'm going to work on it. So, closing, just thanks for letting me be a part of this, and thanks to all of you who have made this sport of wrestling something special for everybody. Thank you.
Stefan Reedy, I can call him Steve or Coach Reedy, anything's okay. If not, we can go at it 2 out of 3. Wrestling simple, we just settle everything. Many years. His bio is great on the book, but I'm going to just highlight some of it. He's going to make weight tonight at 167. We got the scale. He has won the MAC championships and also Division I All-American at 1967 pounds. He has finished sixth. He has coached many champions. He has, I want to say, one of the best wins and losses, 178 wins and 23 losses, which is one of the unique tasks achieved by Coach Regan. He had won 10 consecutive league championships, multiple sectionals, he has coached his son, Matt, since he was 6 years old. They both were undefeated on the senior year, and also they both won a state title, which is a task unmatched in the state of Ohio. Please put your hands together and welcome Coach Reedy.
Thank you very much. Coach Greenlee said 5 minutes, but as wrestlers, we don't tell time very well. So it might take a little bit longer. I think some people must be sick in here because a room full of wrestlers and there's chocolate cake left. There must be something wrong with some of you guys. I'm a little surprised. I'd like to congratulate everyone for getting inducted to this Hall of Fame. It's truly amazing, and I'm truly blessed for achieving this honor. I too would like to thank my wife, because I think wives go unnoticed, and sometimes, I'm not saying unappreciative, but I'd like to thank my wife. Nancy, will you please stand up, please? We all know when we coach, we're at youth wrestling practice, we're at tournaments, and we're not home. My wife, I have 2 children. My daughter, Monica, who couldn't be here because she decided to have triplets 10 months ago, so she couldn't make it. But my son, Matt, was able to come over from Indianapolis. She did an outstanding job of raising my children. Truly, with the triplets, we're there at night, every night, changing diapers, and I didn't realize how challenging it was to change diapers because I didn't do too many diapers when my kids were little. My wife did an outstanding job of raising our kids probably 80% of the time, so I'd like to thank her. Thank you, Nancy. To my wrestlers, I wouldn't be up here if I didn't have the opportunity to have fine young men to work with. They basically also helped raise my son. You know, when we go through coaching, sometimes we say, this kid's bad or this kid's good. It was amazing. My son would leave the elementary school and walk down to our practice, and he'd walk in. We had this old wrestling room and the door fly open. He'd walk in with my daughter, and he'd get dressed and he'd run down there. Even some of the toughest kids in the event, we have some tough kids, you'd see a softer side in them. They'd be doing WWE wrestling and all this other good stuff when he's 6, 7 years old. So to my wrestlers, thank you very much, because you too have a lot to do with my kids and their success, so thank you guys. As for my career, you know, I know we weren't supposed to talk long, you guys are tired, but I wasn't fortunate enough to have great coaches. At Ravenna, I started wrestling in 8th grade, a little fat little boy, and I started and I had 5 coaches in 5 years. And you know, I have dreams. One thing I try to teach people is a dream. If we can dream, we can achieve anything. So as a poor little kid growing up, I dreamt of being a state champ. And my sophomore year, I was fortunate enough to finish 2nd in state because I didn't know what I was doing. I was out there going like hell and didn't have a clue. And then I was fortunate enough to win my senior year and get a college scholarship. And my dad said to me, what are you going to do? I said, Dad, I got a college scholarship. He says, oh, you need to go to work. I go, Dad, I got a college scholarship. I'm going to try it. So I was fortunate enough to go to Kent, had a little bit of success there, and then I went on to go back to my hometown of Ravenna. We had 6 coaches in 9 years. And I had a little booster club meeting, and people said, what's your goal? I'm dreaming, I'm a dreamer, to win a state championship. And they laughed at me. They said, you think people can't be Bristown? I said, that won't happen again. First thing I did, I see the great Tony DiGiovanni there. They had the first year of Solon tournament. I called Tony. He was fortunate enough to let us get his tournament because I knew we had to have great competition. They said, you know, your goal, state championship. 8 years later, going to a great tournament. Surrounded myself with great people like Tony and some other coaches. You know, Coach Cockhill from Chanel and those people. We were able to have a little big success. And we won a state championship. It was nice looking at people saying you can dream. Ravenna's a poor town. Some of my boys came to support me. If I taught them one thing, it's a dream. We need to dream. And they dreamt, they believed in my dream, and we were able to win a state championship. We had multiple state champs, multiple placers. I'd like to introduce a couple of my first. My wife is my first and only wife. You met her. She said, don't say anything else, just keep it like that. I said, okay, that's cool. My first state qualifier, Brett Drager, 1988 graduate, went to Ohio State. He's an engineer, very proud of him. My first state placer, started wrestling 8th grade, Jason Mack, he faced second. Stand up, John. So, and the rest of my boys, thank you very, very much. To my son, thank you very, very much. I know that'd be tough at times, you know, being a coach's son, but you were a trooper, and thank you. Let's talk about wrestling. The 5 previous people told you stories. And guys, we're not normal. There's not a normal one in here. You know, think about wrestlers. We do battle, we beat the hell out of each other, we punch each other, and we walk out of the wrestling room, we have our arm around them, we tell each other we love them, and we go back to work the next day. It's unbelievable. Are we normal? No. I think they should take cologne and make it out of the wrestling room, because I think there's nothing better than a wrestling room the way it smells. I get so excited when I smell that wrestling room. Are we normal? Think about it. Dick Bliss has been wearing white shoes for 51 years. They've been in and out of style, but he still does it. We love him dearly, and it's a great thing. So there you go. They're not normal. In closing, once again, I'd like to thank my boys who came down here, and they are my boys. I love them dearly, because I had kids that lived in a garage with a dirt floor. I had kids that families made $7,000 a year. Our wrestling facility here, we won the state championship. There's 6 lights and 5 of them were burned out. The school said, screw you people, we're not doing them. We had journals that didn't work, our showers didn't work, and this is honest God truth. But these boys believed in me. They believed in what I dreamt, and they dreamt the same thing, as we're going to win this championship. And thank the Lord that they believed in me and they supported me, and we did achieve something. It's the ultimate goal. Could we do it again? Maybe. Could we add 3 more? Maybe. As the official says, sometimes you're on the good side, and sometimes you're on the bad side. So if you see me walk sometimes, it's, you know why? Because I was probably on the bad side a little bit too often. But it is what it is, and I'd like to thank you guys. But I'd like to leave you with one quote that I live my life by, and I think it's pretty deep. It's by Forrest Whitecraft. 100 years from now, it will not matter what kind of car I drove. It won't matter what type of house I lived in. It won't really matter how much money I have in my bank account. But the world may be a little better place because I was important in the life of a child or a wrestler. Thank you very much.
Our next inductee is John Sidlett. And no one was more happier than Guy Seiko when John got inducted into the Hall of Fame. Because all of his coaches are in the Hall of Fame now. And Guy's here for the support. Although he's been coached by only Hall of Fame coaches. So he had to retire right after that. As a retired teacher and a head wrestling coach, John has been nominated for his lifetime service to the sport of wrestling. Mr. Sidlett attended Ashland College in Ohio from 1969 to 1972. In his 44 years with the program at Wellington High School, Mr. Sidlett has started a youth wrestling program, started a junior high wrestling program, helped start the Lorain County Coaches and Official Association. He also created a scholarship for wrestlers going to college, known as the Jason Hartman Memorial Scholarship in 2003. As you can say, the man's a starter. He will start, he will find a way. Please put your hands together and help me welcome John Sidler.
Thank you, everyone. Wow, this is a tremendous audience, and it's hard for me to believe that I'm actually standing here getting this award. I coached a long time, 45 years, and this is number 45. I'm still actively coaching. I haven't given up yet. As long as I can do it, and I love it, I probably stay with it. And it's exciting. And this is what the great wrestling family is all about. All you people that are here to show your support, and all the inductees, the great coaches that already gave speeches and yet to come. Fantastic coaches with great achievements and a million stories that they could talk forever. I try to keep mine to 5 minutes and limit the stories, but I have a few things to share. And there were people that put an unmeasurable amount of work, I feel, into trying to get me to get this award, and writing letters and gathering my information and knowing the right people and talking to the right people. I also was inducted into the State High School Hall of Fame this year. And without the people that look out for other people, it would never happen. And it makes me proud to be part of this process. I like to, once again, like everybody else, your spouse is number one. And I'd like to thank my wife, Nancy. She would love to be here, but she's all right. I want you to know, first before I say that. But she's in Cleveland Clinic. She had a heart attack on Friday. But she's going to be out of the hospital probably tomorrow. And medical science does great things. And she's going to be all right. Put a couple stents in. It's like she feels great. And she's at the hospital now, but she'd be here for sure. And my two sons are here. David, who's in Columbus here, and Scott came all the way out from California. And I would like to say I had a lot more success as a coach than I ever had as a wrestler. And I think maybe that's just because I had a lot more time to coach than I did to wrestle competitively. When I wrestled, I started in the 10th grade, and they didn't have junior high, they didn't have youth programs. First experience I ever had was in the 10th grade, sophomore in high school. They had a wrestling team back in New Rochelle, New York, and immediately I was like, yeah, I'm joining. That's what I want to do. I don't know anything about it, but I'm going to learn. And if you even look at my varsity high school jacket out there, if some of you saw it, it's like a letter on the back, an emblem, and it's got a wrestling ring in the background, and some weird looking, looks like a professional wrestler or a boxer, and with the shoes and the head, and it's like, that just kind of tells you how long ago it was, and they didn't even really have appropriate logos for amateur wrestling. Kind of interesting. A lot of things have changed since then. And I know probably every person in this room has had their lives affected by the sport of wrestling. And you've heard some of the coaches talk about that. But you've been impacted by wrestlers and wrestling in tremendous ways. And we all have our stories. For me, like I said, I wasn't a great wrestler, but I knew early, back in high school, that I wanted to be a teacher, an educator, and I taught 37 years at Wellington High School. Retired now from that, and I knew I wanted to be a coach. I don't know how I knew I wanted to be these things, but I did. And I ended up at Ashland College, once again, amazingly, Chuck Angelo. I was my teammate, Ron Angelo, a bunch of guys, you know, from that National College team, coached by the great Coach Ford, who I have the greatest respect for. And when I graduated from Ashland, I came from New Rochelle, I didn't have a job, and I had done some interviews, you know, the group interview thing, and nothing worked. And so my wife and I got in the car and drove back 10 hours to New Rochelle. And then one day later, Coach Ford calls me on the phone. He says, Johnny, there's a team out here, a school out here, they're looking for a wrestling coach. They want you to come out for an interview. I was sitting there like, seems like a waste of time, you know, done interviews, just drove 10 hours. I got to go back again for another interview. So over the phone he says, they're going to hire you. I was like, all right. So I drove back 10 hours again, did the interview, got the job, teaching and coaching in Wellington, Ohio, little town that knew nothing about. And here I am, 45 years later, I'm still coaching at the same school, Wellington High School, getting this Lifetime Achievement Award. And I can also say that the lifetime coaching did not always come easy for me either. When I started out, I had a bunch of guys that didn't know much about wrestling. My schools didn't have wrestling for very long. They never had a coach that knew anything about wrestling. And I would say these guys it was fun to coach. They were very appreciative of everything I could teach them, and they learned quick and they used it. And we started winning some matches, which our school had never done before. But it took me 10 years to get my first day qualifier. And I was wondering what in the heck was wrong. I had some kids come close and they fall short, like one match short, and I go, wow. But you know, I don't know, I never gave up. I just kept on plugging away. And then I had a kid named Jimmy Weatherby. He qualified, took third in the state, and it's like he broke the ice. All of a sudden, kids from my school were like, well, if Jimmy Weatherby could do it, I could do it. And then eventually I did have state champions and state placers and a tradition of winning wrestling at Wellington High School. I love the sport of wrestling. I love all aspects of wrestling. And as demanding and as tough as it is, it's what makes wrestling the greatest sport on the face of the earth. One thing that's fascinated me with wrestling, and some other coaches have talked about, is technique. An infinity of possible wrestling holds and moves that you can use, which is constantly changing and evolving, and you have to go to clinics and watch the college guys and try to pick up what you can and pass that on to your guys. And every single year I go to clinics. I love to go to Clarion and Edinburgh, everywhere, learn as much as I could, and come back and take videos and study those videos and analyze the heck out of it. And I knew, even if everybody on my team wasn't going to use some of those moves, I knew that at least maybe have one kid, just one kid that's going to pick up on it. He's going to use that move. It's going to make him a better wrestler, and he's going to love it. And that's what it's all about for me. I love to coach technique. I love to learn technique. It's a fascinating part of the sport. And it can turn an average wrestler into a champion. An average athlete can beat a superior athlete by using the proper technique. We all know that in this room. So, don't out-muscle them, out-technique. In closing, every day when I walk into the wrestling room, I see a bunch of young wrestlers on a wrestling mat. I still get excited. And for me, I know that's where I belong. Let's wrestle.
Well, our next nominee is dear to my heart, not only as a Greco-Roman wrestler, but also official. in Pan Am's and Pan American Championship, Pan American Games, Olympic trials. I always liked him, always won. James Spillman is being nominated for lifetime service to wrestling for his countless amounts of years to the sport of wrestling. He attended Kent State for 2 years before wrestling for United States Marines. And as a part of the team, all Marine wrestling team, they won 4 national championships at US Open Greco-Roman and a 2-time Armed Force Services Championships. As I told you, he officiated Olympic trials, Pan American Championships, Pan American Games, and he served as a coach for Ohio Greco-Roman national team from 1993 to 2016, and currently is a director of USA Ohio Greco-Roman Development Program. As you all watch the Rio Olympics, Greco needs help. This is the only sport that doesn't follow the business model. If you do bad, they take money away and guarantee you will do bad. In 2012 London, we didn't do well, so Olympic Committee took beds away from residency program in Colorado Springs, took money away, which guaranteed we will not have a good showing in Rio. So now we're trying to change that. I'm committed to help the 2020 Tokyo with Matt Lindland as national coach, but we're trying to get as much as funding outside the U.S. Olympic Committee and to guarantee some of the Greco-Roman athletes do better. Lastly, Mr. Spillman received the USA Wrestling Official Association Glenn Blackman Award. Please help me bring to the podium our great referee, James Spillman. Stand up, everyone.
Like everybody said, we're gonna try to keep it under 5 minutes.
Yeah, hold it to your mouth.
Joel's a little larger than I am, so. But anyways, I'd like to thank everybody for attending, all the inductees for this class 2016. As he said, I wrestled for Ohio, one of the greatest wrestling states in the country. Homegrown, right here. Unbeknownst to me, I attended Milkovich's camps coming up. I was recruited by Pat Milkovich at Michigan State. So there also is some history there. But I'd like to congratulate all the honorees today. Also, my family, my mom, she's in attendance. Thank you. My dad. All my boys. Please stand up. I have 4 boys. As we've all stated, there's always been women behind any coach, and the amount of time that is put in. So Melissa, thank you. And all the coaches and the wrestlers in attendance. A lot of coaches that I coached Ohio teams throughout the years, and been associated with a lot of not only high school coaches. I coached in high school as well. Was able to go back to my hometown after the military, after wrestling for USA, and then continuing on with a couple individuals that directed me in certain areas through coaching to give back to our great sport. As I said, as a great wrestler once said, once you've wrestled, everything else in life is easy. That's Dan Gable. A lot of true statement to that. As coaches out there and wrestlers, we understand that full-heartedly. I'd like to thank a couple individuals up front. First of all, my coaches from high school that took a pretty rough kid, kind of give him a little direction, where to put that direction. And without the support from my coaches in high school, Coach Nick Confalone, Scott Myers, and Coach Doug Mosier, I was able to be successful in high school wrestling as well, becoming a state champion, and then also being able to coach the school's first state champion. That I actually had the ability to have both my high school coaches on my staff, as being able to coach the school's first state champion, which is in attendance here. It's a great honor to have him. One of the great wrestlers from Ohio, All-American at Attenborough University, has actually started one of the first startup programs that we all need for our great sport of wrestling. Nate Yetzer at Ferrum. As high school coaches and our mentors, wrestling reflects so many challenges and everything that goes along with the bonds and everything else that come with it, the preparations, and the ability to take all that life throws at you has been one of the greatest things about wrestling in my life, as well as the competition. My coaches always have told me, you always told me to give something back to the sport that we all love, and that's what I've tried to do over the years that I've done it. And I love being from Ohio, but starting coming back from the Marine Corps and being associated with USA Wrestling for the years that I have, as far as competition goes, we've had some of the greatest national champions, and starting up your own Greco program within the state, and being associated at the national level, and being able to represent not only as a wrestler, but as a coach, and also as the official from Ohio. I was able to travel around the world, forge great relationships, and that influenced my life tremendously. Also, the guys that got me involved with the officiating, I'd like to recognize a couple of those guys. We all get to see, I like Larry's comment about I've always made somebody happy on either side, one side or the other, but who actually seen me wrestle in high school and through the armed forces with USA. Tom Clark, Joe Scalzo Jr. Tom's here. Tom represented the United States in 2008 Olympics as an official, as a mentor. Dave Eric, also a great friend. His son, Dave, was a great mentor for me as far as coming up and officiating, but his son, Zach Eric, who had a great mentor as well, his own father, has represented the United States in the last two Olympics in Rio and in England, the last day, Zach Eric. I'd like to thank all my teammates from Ohio, the Marine Corps. Unfortunately, one of them just had to take off to catch his flight. But the relationships are never stopping with wrestling. And I've had so many great things, and it's an honor for me to be considered for this, and with some of the individuals that I've actually had contact or have influenced my wrestling career and my coaching career and my officiating career. The relationships with everybody's families, as we all have stated, that wrestling is a big family. And those are some of the most cherished moments with the wrestlers. I'd like to thank all the wrestlers. I'll leave you with a quote from one of my coaches, one of my teammates, Greg Gibson, and it was in his retirement not too long ago. He said that great wrestlers and coaches never retire, they just fade away. But they're always in our memory. So with that, it's the respect and the honor and the esteem that it is to be held here with this honor. I appreciate it all, and it's an unbelievable experience for myself. But thank you very much for this evening, and for everybody.
I need another 30 seconds. I forgot the most important thing. And, you know, we make a lot of mistakes as officials. And that is to thank my family, and my wife, especially, and my friends that came to see me. And if I want to go home and be happy, that's why I'm here.
I think it was a protest on that match to watch the video. And this is one of the first times the official won the protest. Did you get nervous when you were up here, you forgot?
Yeah. You make me nervous with that headlock.
Always blame something in officials. Take responsibility. If it was a wrestler, who would have said, I screwed up or forgot. But no, go ahead. You get to go home. The last honoree was involved in my career as a volunteer and also assistant coach at Cleveland State, so it's a great pleasure to be here. Gary Ceresi, he's been nominated for over 50 years worth of service to the sport of wrestling. He was a state champ in Maple Heights. He wrestled for Cleveland State from 1970 to 75. I always figured you for a 4-year. I didn't know your red shirt. I didn't know your grades were that bad, Gary. And I don't know, you know the joke or not, Jay Robinson's no longer coaching, but when he was recruiting me, he would say, you got 4 years to wrestle. You got the rest of your life to go to school. But they changed the rules because of Iowa. They have guys who wrestle 4 years and pass 3 credits. They're beginning complete. They dropped their class right after the season was over. So a lot of the changes came from the big schools. I'm going to read your credentials unless you're ready to go. I think this is the moment you need to shine. I practice. No, because he's retired at Twinsburg City Schools, not only as athletic director, as assistant coach. Many, many years of giving himself up to the sport. I think he could wait to thank his wife. Make sure you thank your wife. There's no do-over. You're the last one. You want to go home. And he goes, can I have 30 seconds? And I'm like, sure. One of the things I want to talk about, Gary, we fought to bring NCAAs to Cleveland. And 1998, we showed a lot of success. That's what wrestling is coming back to Cleveland. Because Coach Ceresi was the head of the officials. He was the head of the volunteers. The head of the official, Pat McCormick, called this the best run tournament he had ever attended. And that was because of this gentleman. My assistant coach, good friend, Gary Ceresi. Congratulations.
I know that this has been a marathon here tonight, but you're in for the last 4 minutes, so just hang in there, please. Thank goodness for wrestling. First, I'd like to thank the Hall of Fame committee for not only nominating, but selecting me, along with these other fine gentlemen. It's an honor for me, my family, and my friends. I want to congratulate the other inductees. I'm sure they've worked long, hard, and successfully to earn this achievement. I further want to thank everyone here in attendance tonight for coming and showing your support, especially those of you who made it through till the end here to listen to what I had to say. Personally, I'd like to thank my family, my friends, my teammates, my former students and wrestlers, my coaches, and the fans. I want to give special thanks. I have it written down, Matt. I want to give special thanks to my wife of 43 years, Gloria. supported me through everything that I have done. I would also like to acknowledge my children in attendance, my daughter Melissa, who is here in the front, and her husband Brian, who's sitting over there, my son Brian and his wife Katie, over here, and of course my grandchildren, Molly, Ava, Peyton, and AJ. Stand up, please. People ask me why I didn't have a table on display out in the lobby. These are my biggest achievements here, my family. When I was young, I didn't like it when someone would say to me how lucky I was. I used to think and I used to say, you make your own luck. But now looking back on it, I think I'm starting to see it differently. In 1963, my parents moved our family from Cleveland out to Maple Heights. And 5 years later, for I don't know what reason, I decided to wrestle. My father recently passed away, but before he died, he told me, thank goodness for wrestling. Without it, I don't know what would have happened to you. And that's the truth. That's what he told me. He was always worried that I wouldn't amount to much. I was an 80-pound weakling walking into my first day of practice. Little did I know that those were my first steps into the great fraternity we call wrestling. As fortune would have it, I was planted in the middle of the Maple Heights wrestling dynasty, tucked between two of the greatest collegiate wrestlers in history, Tom and Pat Milkovich. What an effect that had on me. Surrounded by champions and coached by our Hall of Fame coach, Mike Milkovich, I was able to develop my abilities, my determination, and eventually won a state championship. Because of that, I was fortunate enough to be recruited and to compete at the college level. My college coach, another Hall of Famer and great champion, Dick Bonacci, helped me to grow and succeed as a wrestler and a man. Again, I was surrounded by a lot of talented teammates who pushed me and encouraged me. Right after my competitive days ended, in fact, it was after one of my last matches at Cleveland State, I was approached by a guy who tapped me on the shoulder, and it was another Hall of Fame coach, Howard Ferguson. And he said, I'm starting a wrestling program, I'm taking over the wrestling program at St. Ed's, and I want you to help me coach. They were 0-14 the 2 years before we took over the program. Within a couple of years, we won a sectional championship, then we won a district championship, and then, of course, you know the rest, we started winning state championships. And at that point, I left and started my career in Twinsburg. I've also traveled all over the world with wrestling. I've been to Europe 3 times, I've been to Russia, been to Hawaii. Because of these opportunities, I've always felt that I've had to give back to the sport of wrestling. So for the past 45 years, that's what I've been trying to do. I didn't realize it then, but looking back, I guess I was extremely lucky. Thank goodness for wrestling, and thank you for this great honor.
What a great night. Long night. But most wrestlers have patience. We tested you. This is probably one of the largest crowd we had, over 340 people. It took a lot of time and effort. I'm going to send a report back to Stillwater, Oklahoma, and I think we'll be one of the biggest crowds for all the states nationally. It's all because of you. There's people in here that came from Oregon. I got a phone call from somebody from California this morning, Florida, I mean, all over the state of Ohio. I mean, you're taking the time out to show your support and your love for your coaches, officials, and it takes a lot of work. The committee does a great job. Joe leads it up, and we just do what he says. But the main person behind this, I would like to know, is Stephanie Middleton. Please stand up. I told her what to do, and she doesn't. But at the end, she tells me what I did wrong. Andy, you mentioned about 6 years ago when you started this, and we never had one. And like Andy said, every state's got one. There's like 25. Why not Ohio, which is the best state for wrestling? You know, I don't care what Pennsylvania says. It's here. It's proven. But thank you so much. I want you to stand for benediction. Stand up for benediction. Right for prayers. Bow your heads. Almighty Lord, you could hear the stories today, and I could feel your feelings in my soul. How much love is in this room, and how these leaders became leaders because of love and fellowship, and the friendship and the leadership they had in their families, their coaches. And this is a great sport, but this is a great group. And thank you for allowing us to have this beautiful day. Grant them a great trip home, and thank you in the name of Jesus. Amen. Have a great day. Thank you. Thank you.